Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing. But it's a thing we want you tuned into every Saturday afternoon right here at Status Network Studio. I'm Elsa McGee, your host, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Tony. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good. In fact, I'm doing real good this year.
Yes, man. This is the best. This is the best time I ever got on the show. The first time, the greatest time that I could say. And I'm gonna say this. I want to apologize for the show last week. We didn't get a video. And we're not set up today for calls in, but it's okay because we got some stuff coming up, man. That's off the chains, really. I'm gonna let you tell it, Tony, because I might say something that's off whack. Go on,
No, you're perfectly safe in what you're saying. The reason why all of the excitement is that this week we met with the city council. Fulton County, City of Atlanta, went down. Representative Michael Julian Vaughn invited us to come down to speak to the city council. And we did. 4 of us came down and we did a brief presentation and talked about, of course, our memorial. You know, that's the biggie that we're talking about now. And we were just really, really excited because we had heard, shall we say, rumors of the fact that the city was going to fund the memorial, but nothing firm. And so one of the things we wanted to do when we met with them on this week was to find out the status. You know, we were sort of in the blind. We had heard great things about the memorial and being funded, but nothing official from our contact person, which is Michael Julian Bond. So we went down, made the presentation to the city council, and everything appeared to be really, really receptive. Everybody was really receptive, no real challenges to any of the comments that we made. And so after the presentation, we were in an attempt to contact Representative Bond just to find out the actual status. Well, we got an email later that evening stating that, and we need a drum roll for this.
Yeah. You need a drum roll for this one, buddy.
Yeah, but the Atlanta City Council has approved $1.5 million for the Vietnam Memorial. Sons of Atlanta Vietnam Memorial is now officially funded by the city and will exist. And so now,
yes.
Thanks for the sound effects.
You know, Tony, this has been a long time coming. You know, I was looking over my first. I don't want to say speech because speeches are long. This was a sermon. You know? This was a sermon at my church at Omega Holiness Church when Dr. Cobble was alive. We was introducing the Sons of Atlanta as an idea that we should pursue in this city. And at that time, we were only talking about Atlanta proper, but we got to moving, and you know, me and you running around with people. We go out and talk with Marvin, and Marvin said, yeah, he's supported, but it need to be county-wide. Yeah. I said, well, now, we ain't thought about no county-wide, but, you know, when God do something, he does it his way. And, you know, you have to just sometimes get in a quiet place.
Exactly.
And listen to his message to you. And, you know, I'm looking at, I looked at you and I'm looking, say, well, okay, we're expanding. They had no idea at that time that there were actually 8 other cities in Fulton County who had lost sons in the Vietnam War. We were talking about roughly 180 people at that time. Roughly. Now we're talking about 240 plus individuals with 9 cities. Yeah. So, you know, Tony, we got to believing that this was divinely inspired. and it was and divinely inspired for a purpose.
Exactly.
And
yes.
what that purpose was, it came to me as a call to unity. It's a call to unity for not just veterans, but for the community.
Yeah.
For the community to come together and look at some realities about military service in our community. You know, we looked at, we were going through some things for Memorial Day, talking about Memorial Day and trying to get to the city council to make them move before Memorial Day. And we had to look at the history of Memorial Day. Now, the history of Memorial Day is really fascinating, and I want people to understand, you're going to hear all this over and over again, because we're going to do a documentary of this memorial that's going to be coming out sometime before Christmas. Ex-slaves started Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Ex-slaves. You know, I mean, our ancestors,
Yes,
Tony.
really.
You
yes.
know, so,
yeah.
and I mean, I really got kind of excited and thinking that, okay, this is something special. This memorial got to be something bigger than what initially thought we was doing. And it's a call to unity for all the veterans in Fulton County. Now, me and Tony was already doing some things with veterans in Fulton County because of the memorial advocacy. We done got Fulton County Veteran Empowerment Commissions set up. And this year make the second year, Tony, that commission has given out $1 million. Make this year the second million, $2 million to organizations organizations that are supposed to be helping veterans in Fulton County in 3 categories: homelessness and health care and economic community. This commission is amazing. It's an amazing coming together. In other words, we talk about the memorial being a call to unity. Well, the commission is that call. We've been able to set up a commission that represent all 7 districts of Fulton County. It ain't staff rights yet, Tony.
Right. But it exists.
It exists. It exists because of the memorial.
Right.
You know, it came before the memorial, so we didn't put it all together until, well, the memorial is a call to unity. Here we are sitting on a commission of Fulton County that touches all of the cities that we're talking about.
Exactly.
And some. We learned that one of the newer cities in Fulton County has already got a memorial to Vietnam War veterans. It is a replica of the big wall in D.C. Mm-hmm. So we're going to connect all of these memorials to the Sons of Atlanta.
Exactly.
Because, see, one of the things we want people to know and to think about, why did they die? It was a sense of duty and service to this country and to the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Because this pledge of allegiance said we're striving to be one nation, under God, indivisible. We can't break us up in no kind of way. Yeah. With liberty and justice for all, meaning opportunities. See, we live in a time and in a place, and not just in America, but in the world, where 2% of the population owns 90% of the wealth. So they are able to do the puppet thing with the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, they got some of us trying to be like them, you know, because they're billionaires. But they're creating this lopsided wealth, and what is happening, it creates a ground for crime and violence, lack, just lack. I'm gonna just talk about economic inequality.
Yes.
It should be looked at as a crime. We live in 2020, and we got people standing on their yacht saying $17 an hour for minimum wages is too much. That's not even a livable wage in this economy. That's not even a living wage. That's less than $35,000 a year. You need $65,000 a year to even live on par.
Mm-hmm.
Not up in the upper middle class, but I'm talking about on par with how these billionaires, oligarchs, done created wants, that we don't need, that laps up our income and has caused rent to be way beyond what a person can earn in a month's work. The rent. 1 bedroom, Tony, in our hometown, in our home county. 1 bedroom now will cost you $1,500 a month.
And that's the bottom line right there.
That's the lower line. You're right, that's the lower line. I'm talking about that's the bottom. Anything below that, you living in abject property and rat-infested old buildings that are decaying and that causing illnesses. They still got lead in most of them.
Yeah.
But the sons of it now.
Yes.
That call, that spirit, in that spirit, we have worked the government, thanks to Michael Julian Bond, a true servant of our community, a true servant. I mean, he comes from a family of truth. His father was a true servant.
Yes.
He had some things to say about the war and that we were fighting, Tony, that caused him not to be seated by this Georgia General Assembly that's putting guns in our community like we need them.
Yeah.
We don't need no war zone in these communities where these heroes came from and where we came from, Tony.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So see, I want people to remember this. All gave some, but some gave all. And I'm saying all gave some because you've had more Vietnam era veterans die from service-related ailments than was actually killed in the war itself. And they still dying, with the reputation of being the fastest dying generation of veterans ever. Why? Because of exposures to chemicals. But this memorial has driven us to bring out information and knowledge in the community, where the community has now an opportunity to heal itself, to overcome these inequities in our community. So we got a message. We got a message now. We're not just building a monument in the park. We're going into the community centers, libraries throughout this county, and make sure that everybody has an opportunity to have a better quality of life, and that we eliminate the problems that causing them to be violent, period. We're going to deal with the mental illness issues because we're going to drive it. We're going to get the guns, them automatic weapons, out of our communities, because we're going to elect people that's going to represent the community, that got the community best interests at heart. See, the word tells us something about following evil leaders.
Yes.
I mean, anytime the word speaks to us about something, we need to listen. The spirits of those that have paid the ultimate price have called upon you, call upon us to cut the mess. Let's cut it out. They made a sacrifice so that we could have the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
We need to do it. Listen, I love the PAC Act. It was the greatest advance of veteran benefits in the history of the VA, but it fell short of covering all veterans. We can get there though, Tony. We can get there because if we can get city council to come together to fund this memorial, to set up this program, we can do anything. We can rally the people in our community. We can address the mental illness in our community that's causing a lot of the petty crimes and some of the violent crimes, because mental illness don't have no respect of conduct. You know, it's just bad conduct. And we need to recognize that. And we need to pull together the resources of the community to address homelessness, Tony. I mean, Marvin Arrington Jr. has told us that Fulton County got 2 hotels on Fulton Industrial. And that he would love to see one of them at least go to homeless, to work on homeless, go for veterans. But we believe this. After all this stuff that we've been doing, all these people that we've been loving, all these meetings that we've been to, and listening to what is going on and watching what is going on in our community, we got enough resources to address these problems already.
Yeah.
We got enough empty buildings that's owned by the city, owned by the counties, and owned by these cities to make sure we can get everybody, not just veterans, everybody off the streets. Yeah. We got enough institutions of higher learning with social work programs they're teaching our young folks.
Yeah.
To actually provide the care that we need to address mental illness in our community. And then you can get the drug problem. You can get the drug problem. With community, all of us coming together, not just one side of the track, this side of the track, all of us. Because what this community we need to know, when these young men died, they had just came out of a segregated community into an integrated environment. When I left home, Tony, on May the 12th, 1967, I came off the west side of Atlanta, off of Whitworth Drive, 294 Whitworth Drive in Adamsville. Completely segregated.
Yes.
Completely segregated. No white people, no Mexicans, nobody but us.
Just us.
Just us. So I didn't know how to live with nobody else but us. And I'm going to tell you something, Tony. We weren't killing us like we killing us now. We're going to talk about that part. But when I got to the Sears building, you know, I didn't know, we didn't stay there. You know, we just come through there. You might have stayed there overnight, but you didn't get no bunk. You know, you wasn't assigned to no unit. You did that when you got to Fort Benning or wherever you was going for basic training. I walked into the Fort Benning thing and got my little stuff, and you know they cut all my hair off. I ain't gonna talk about what kind of hair I had on there, but they cut all my hair off and gave me a little stuff and told me that I was going to that barrack. I get in the barrack, somebody in there that don't look like me.
Yep.
Somebody in there that don't talk like me. They was on one bunk, I was on the next. We could. We had to live together. That was the first thing we had to learn how to do. Yeah. Just live together. You know, because we had to use all the same facilities. We had to eat in the same place, right? Mm-hmm. In the streets, they was fighting against that. In the streets of Atlanta, you couldn't go in a white restaurant and ain't no white coming in the black restaurant.
Exactly.
Unless they were stocking it. Unless they were stocking it. But the Sons of Atlanta approval means more to this city than I think they know right now. Yeah. So we got to let them know. And how we gonna do that? We finna start having a series of town hall meetings throughout Fulton County. The first one is on July the 10th at Club E. Mm-hmm. We're calling on all of these mayors. Now, you got to understand, we still got to fix the wall, build the wall. Mm-hmm. You know, we got the design, everything has been approved. We got the land, we got the design, we got the architects, we got C.D. Moody ready to go to work. But we got to do some stuff, some stuff that we want people to be a part of. We want this to really be a part. So we calling all veterans and veterans families from every generation to buy a commemorative brick, to put your name or your loved one name in this park. You can do it right now, today. You can go to sonsofatlanta.org and purchase a brick. They start at $100 and they go up to $1,000, depending on what you want to say, how much you want to say. And that's going to be a part of the memorial site, Tony.
Yes.
You know, my name going to be there. I'm going to make sure, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make sure all of my relatives that have served in the military, I got a niece and a nephew, they going to have a brick. I got my daddy going to have a brick. I had a little cousin that was in the Marine Corps, Tony, back in the day, and he came home to Miami, Florida, and was killed by a police officer that got probation. You know, so this killing of young black men didn't just start. You know, we got to reform the police departments. You know, we got a lot of work to do as community.
Yes.
So this is a call to unity like no other call has ever been made. In the spirit of those who have paid the ultimate price. These young men went to death together. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you something. I learned one thing. In the condition that I was wounded in Vietnam. I was in combat. I was not a cook. I was not in the rear. I was out in the field humping the boonies every day. And I learned some of them people that didn't look like me became my best friend.
Exactly.
Closer than a brother. Mm-hmm. Closer than a brother, Tony. Because we had to live together. We had to work together. We had to learn together. We had to serve together. And they went to death. And then that Vietnam tour wasn't but a year. So you mean they went to basic trainings, AIT, most cases straight to Vietnam. Mm-hmm. Living together, learning together. And they bonded. We bonded. Yeah. We bonded. We bonded across racial, ethnicity, community lines. The problem was when we got out of the military, we went back to our segregated communities. Yeah. But we're out of it today. We're out of it. We're in that mix that should be going on. There's enough for everybody in America. I ride around this city and I see so much vacant land, it ain't funny. And I see so many vacant houses, ain't funny. It's enough for everybody. But the greed, the greed that we have in our community, the selfishness that we have in our community, we got to call it out. In the name of these young men that were so unselfish, Tony, that they went to death. Mm-hmm. But they went to death believing and hoping when they came back to the world, and that's what we used to call the United States, the world. We was a world away. Yep. When we got back to the world, we're going to be able to do this. We're going to be heroes. I got spit on coming back because it was one of the most divided periods in the history of the United States. Yep. People was against the wall. They was against integration. They was against racial mixing, you know. And I'm hearing some of the same old stupid stuff on where people running for office now, though, Tony. Yeah. You know, we can't listen to those people. We got to look at what the price that we have already paid for what we got. These young men died believing in this country, in this government. Mm-hmm. And when they pledged allegiance, when they took that oath, they kept it. In the military, you know you could be late for your assigned duty, but you gonna see it in your pay. You ain't getting that much pay no way. You're gonna see it in your pay. The people that serve in our government today, like we got people in Washington trying to impeach the president, you know, censoring each other about nonsense. Mm-hmm. In a conflict in the highest level of our government, we need to get that out. It's we the people. Yeah. We got the right to vote. They've been playing with that, but they ain't been able to take it yet. Let me say yet. Because we got too many people that have become disheartened by the process because they don't understand. The majority wins. Mm-hmm. But the good thing about it, you got another chance in a few years. It don't mean they win forever. Yep. And when you get in government, they're supposed to make sure that they're taking care of all the people. You know, all of us ain't gonna get everything we want at one time. So we got to learn to work together. And we got to get politicians, people that we're electing, not standing up calling each other names and saying misinformation. The Biden crime family. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And they spending millions of tax dollars investigating each other. I mean, now if you done committed a crime, you know, you subject to the same laws everybody else is subject to. You are supposed to obey the laws just like everybody else. There are two ways you can commit a crime: by commission and omission.
Yes.
Omission is when you fail to enforce the laws equally. That's omission. Commission is when you go out in the store and steal something because you got to feed your family.
Yeah.
You know, we can eliminate both of them, both crimes. But it's going to have to come down to we the people. Again, we got to come together as community, like these young men, with a sense of duty and service to our communities. We watching this money, Tony. You know, we watching.
Yeah.
We watching this money. The second year, the categories that they define that the money was supposed to be going to, it's clear. The criteria for the people to get the money is clear. You know, you didn't have to all be in Fulton County. You just had to be working in Fulton County. You had to be helping veterans in Fulton County. So we should see some kind of evidence of this money touching these people. Mm-hmm. Because if you got money to feed the homeless and you got 10 other organizations out there doing the same thing, y'all should come together.
Yep. So
y'all can feed more and have more manpower. If you ain't feeding the homeless and you getting the money and you going down there to Lexus dealership, oh, wait a minute.
You didn't really mean to go there, did you?
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna shut up right now, Tony, because I'm gonna let you say something, man. Because I'm excited though, bro. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I am. I have to admit, since we met and received that email from, I almost said Marvin Harrington, but Michael Julian Bond, I have been on Cloud 9.
Yeah. Cloud 9.
Because now I can actually visualize it actually coming and actually existing. Mm-hmm. And so I have been so excited. I'm sharing it with everybody I know.
Yes.
You know, it's my way of letting, everybody know this is something that is grassrooted within the community. It wasn't something that came down. This was a grassroots product that you started, 2015?
2015.
2015 with an idea, not really knowing what it would actually manifest to be, but you had an idea. And I said it before, and I'll say it again, that idea was to benefit the community. Mm-hmm. And when you have an idea that's going to benefit the community and actually the world, there is a divine element behind it.
Yes. And
with that divine element behind it, it comes fully funded and actually complete. We only saw, we were, as humans, we're short-sighted. We're living in the right now and not really looking at the big finished picture. And so, but by having that short-sightedness, we stay focused on that, trying to progress it to the point to where it becomes a finished item. But we kept believing and knowing, and as we did that, we began to win people over.
And I'm going to say this.
That had a similar vision. Go ahead.
I got to say this. When you say divine, God put together this incredible little group.
Yeah. Yes.
This incredible little group, man, that has been amazing. I mean, I know how to make some of them mad.
Yeah.
But it because of I got the message, I got the vision, and I want to keep it there. And you know, a lot of time people think that you're just being mean spirit, but you know, I had the vision. I had to stay on the vision.
Yes.
You know, and I couldn't be distracted by what other people thought at the time. And see, sometimes that's what caused separation in our communities. We got to learn that everybody got something to do, and sometimes it's with each other. But if we are in acrimonious conflict, it stops it. Yeah. But the thing about this little amazing team, and some people that was a part of the team never came to a meeting. Yeah. They just did stuff like Kenny. I'm gonna just say he's sitting in the audience because he's here every week. He's a veteran that been mistreated. He's a part of our chapter. He didn't have to come into the support the way he came into the support. But I think about all these people that just came in, man, and hugged onto this vision like it was theirs. And you know, I mean, that's what made it work. That's what made I can remember when we first met with Pete Park Conservatory, we didn't even have a visual
really
of what it gonna look like. The Park and Recreation assistant commissioner kind of threw that at us. He said he never seen nobody come forward to somebody trying to get something and don't know how it looks. No, ain't got no vision of it. You ain't got no presentation of it. You here preaching.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what we did, Tony. Yeah. That's literally what we did.
But we were supposed to do that.
Yeah.
It was not just a learning situation for us, but also Pete My Park, because now they're dealing with a raw idea that even they had the vision to see. This is something that probably should be done. They weren't sure, but they liked the idea. Yeah. And so as a result, they were encouraging us. You know, we like your idea, but you gotta put something to, you gotta give us something to look at. We had visions in our mind, but we hadn't put those visions on paperwork so that we could communicate them to other people. And once we did that and they saw our vision, they realized this is something we can work with. Now, our original vision was a little large. We were asking for the world, but that's what you do. You put your big vision out there, and then they massaged it to a point to where they could work with it, and we could work with it.
And I can remember, Tony, when they said that, they said, "We're not giving you that." And Pete My Park, they just say, "We're gonna be straight up with you now," you know. And I kind of, you know, well, okay, what you gonna do? Give us some specs that you could. So we looked at, you know, what they was talking about, and we changed the whole vision to fit what they was providing with us. They said, "We'll give you some land. You know, but you ain't gonna have no land to have no center here and all of this stuff here." So okay, then we got to break up this vision. We got to break it up in two parts. Don't we? So we went back, and you know, some of them listened to me, some of them left. You know, you can't keep changing your mind. No, we wouldn't change our mind. We was growing the vision to a reality. We was growing the vision into a reality. So we sketched out something and paper to get the specs, but we still didn't have no design. Until we met Michael Pollard. Yes. Who brought on his daughter. You know, who never came to a meeting.
Really? But she had the vision.
She
had the vision.
She had the vision. She what she did, she took our vision. She saw our vision. That's what she did. Yeah. She saw our vision because I kind of worked Michael's nerve there a little bit because I kept saying, "No, that ain't it. That ain't it." Oh yeah, now you got it. You know. And then Moody's kind of just eased in, and anything we know, he done brought Robert Fowler in. You know, Mr. Moody, I'm saluting you, bro. You didn't say nothing. You just worked.
He worked worked the system.
He worked
us. He worked us. I mean, sit back and silently and move things out of the way, set things up, put people in our group, in our area, in our team, so that we could accomplish what he knew what we needed, but he didn't need to tell us. He just needed to make the moves and make it happen.
He made it happen. Yes. Anything we know, like Robert Fowler came on and started dealing with it. We go down to his office and he started doing designs, and he sending me these designs, and I'm saying, oh yeah. And he working with them, cause what they knew we had to go through an approval process to get the thing built after we got it.
Yeah.
And Robert Fowler did all of this stuff.
Yes.
And he been on the show one time.
Yeah.
But never. He didn't came to the task force meetings, Zoom meetings. But I'm just thinking about how all this came together, how all these folks, this handful of people.
Yes. Yeah.
Now we got to get the whole community involved. We got to get the schools involved. We got to get the people involved. Now, I was so excited on this Veterans Day. I know she's watching, but we not set up for calls today, Val, so that's why I'm not texting. But Valerie Belt Jones, an educator, sister that I love and met, I guess about 15, 20 years ago. She was doing, this was before the vision came to me to do the memorial. She was already having a memorial every year for her brother, who she believed was killed in Vietnam because of the Vietnam War. Now, this is amazing because he was killed during the Vietnam War, and he was killed by racism. And I'm gonna say that because I read the paperwork, and I don't like the way there were 3 blacks on the ship, and they was down there locked up, and they couldn't get to them, and they burned up. All of them died.
Yep.
So we got this memorial being a community memorial. We're able to put people's name on this memorial that's not at Sloppy Floyd, and not in D.C., not in John Creek. So we modified, we accept the criteria for all of the people that's on the wall. Exactly. We're going to keep that. But we expanded our criteria to anybody that was in the U.S. military and were killed during the Vietnam War era will be on our memorial. Yeah. Because, see, we understand that integration is a natural order of humankind, whether we want it to be or not. It's a natural order of humankind. The people that have manipulated the races against each other was all about economic control, to keep that economics. And if you look at the economics that most of these people want to impose upon us, is not a democracy kind of economics, not free enterprise. It looks like this plantation. It looks like a plantation economics. We got to get past that, because when you got lack in a community, I don't care whether it's white, black, or Hispanic, you're gonna have crime. You're gonna have crime. And when you got racists sitting on governmental bodies to distribute the wealth of the taxes, and they're racist, they're gonna discriminate in the way they give these opportunities. We got to stop that. We got to get past all that mess, because that's the root of all the things that we see going wrong in our community today. Tony, when I was growing up, I didn't have no fear of going to the park or going to a party. Yeah. Because first thing, you wasn't gonna have no gun. I like the story you tell about your dad's gun. You knew it was in the house, but you wasn't gonna approach it.
Yep, exactly. I treasured my life, and I knew that I knew what the rule was, and it was simple. And I knew as long as I followed the rule, I'm good. Me and my dad were good.
Yeah.
But I knew if I disobeyed him and broke that law, I had to suffer the consequences
immediately.
I mean, without a doubt. You know, and I had no defense. So as a result, I know. You know, you don't do it's there. Yeah, I see it, and it will remain there. And I won't touch it.
I won't touch it because I know better. I done been told not to do that.
Yes.
And told in love.
Yes.
Not anger or some kind of thing that and wasn't called out of my name. Right. I ain't never been called out of my name by my mama or my daddy. Never.
I knew I was in trouble when they called me by my whole name.
Yeah.
People were like, okay. The ears popped up.
Yeah, because you
get nervous because okay, I know what I did wrong, and I've been caught, but I will suffer the consequences.
Been busted.
Yes.
I listen. I've been told not to leave the area. My sisters get busy. I'm the only boy, so I got to find something else to do. I can look in there and see if my mama laying down and my daddy ain't near. I'm gone.
Yeah.
I knew I was gonna get checked. I knew I was gonna get checked because I done left the AO.
Yes.
The AO in that day was my yard, my mama's yard. I didn't have permission to leave that yard or that house unless I told my mama. She said, wherever you go, I want to know where you're at, when you're going, how you gonna get there. And you better tell me.
Yeah.
All this sticking and sliding stuff that you get from kids. And my mom would tell me quick in a minute. She let me play with it a little bit. She'd stop me when I get too far because she said, I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
I'm your mama, and you better always know that. I'm gonna always be your mama. And the thing about this conversation today, Tony, veterans talking to veterans and the community, we got to get our community back from these issues.
Yes.
We know that we have had a community free of these issues. How did they come about? We know. We done been privileged. We talking about young men that we grew up with. They didn't live to get most of them people on that website. It broke my heart when I started looking at it. Didn't live to be 21 years old.
Exactly.
Didn't even live to be 21 years old. But the sense of duty and service they had, they gave up their lives, man.
Yeah.
And we can't do nothing to act right for that. we can't do nothing to act right for that. We know that we got families in our community that need help. I can remember in my community, if somebody needed help, man, they would do a fish fry or something.
Exactly.
The community was going to do something to raise money to help that family.
Exactly. Yeah.
They didn't go around talking, well, they ain't got no that. They need to do that. They didn't even, that wasn't even in the conversation. They had an issue that was a part of the community. The community came together and addressed it.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the community was always together on the kids.
Oh, yes. Yes.
If I got checked by one of my neighbors, well, I know I'm scared to go home because I'm going to get checked again.
Yeah.
I'm going to get checked again. And if my neighbor had to say something to me that I was doing something that my parents done told me not to do, if the neighbor didn't hit me, they want to know why. They ain't even talking about you want to say nothing to my child. No, they want to know why you didn't straighten them up. Cause now I'm finna whoop your butt right now.
Yeah.
That made a better child. I mean, I tell people all the time, the military didn't give me discipline. They gave me direction. I had discipline when I went in the military.
Yeah.
I got the discipline from my mama and my dad and my grandparents, my family.
Yeah. And your school.
And my school.
Don't leave the school out.
Listen,
don't leave the school out.
You bust me. Because I thought about Mr. Rice. Mr. Rice was a counselor, man. When I first got to Washington High. I wasn't smoking. I don't think that wouldn't. My granddad had them broke me up from that because me and my cousin got his cigarettes one time, and he made us smoke all of them. He made us smoke until we got. Listen, we was delirious, man. Listen, see, community was always together. Families was always together with us, and Mr. Rice. I was the Chi-Chi man. I was the lookout guy. right? And my little buddies were smoking. I wasn't smoking, but I'm looking out for them. So I'm part of the crime.
Yep.
You know, Mr. Rice called Mama and all the rest of the mamas that was there. Man, my mama never had to come to school no more. That was it. I think she whooped me every time she looked at me. I'm at work. Why you got these folks calling me? You know how to act, Elsa?
Yep.
What are you doing? You've been told, trained what to do right.
Yes.
And you got the teacher calling me about you misbehaving in school.
Yep.
Every time she looked at me. And so I learned to be an honor student. You know, I had to get and because she checked my grades. She want to know no, buddy, you ain't bringing no C's in this house. I go to work so you can go to school. Parenting these days need help.
Yeah.
You know, they got so many distractions, and I don't want to just say the drugs is a distraction because some of them it ain't drugs, it's things. You know, they trying to get things for their children, so they just giving them things. They're not giving them discipline.
Right.
I got the cutest little great grandbaby in the world. She's a dog. She tell me, I mean, at 5 years old, she could tell me more about a tablet than I knew. Still know. Now she's 7. She going to school. She every time she come, she teaching me, and then telling her mama what to do. You know, she the mama.
Yeah.
Because she had to check her mama. She see her mama going the wrong way. Mama, you know. I said, this ain't the right role. You know, they don't reverse role.
Right.
You know, what we have to do, the church got to step up, Tony.
Yeah.
To these families. I can remember when I was a kid, my great granddaddy was a preacher, and he was some like my nannies. You know, with him, I had to go with him because everybody else was busy. He was a World War II veteran. He was a preacher. He got out of the military and what he did with his military experience, he bought land. He bought land. I guess he saw himself having children, so he bought 25 acres of land, and he wound up having 5 children. My granddaddy was was his oldest son. He had 1 daughter, which was my auntie that would whoop me too. You know, but these families had to go through hell. I watched my family, they owned the land that they lived on, but it wasn't enough for them to prosper. They had to sharecrop.
Exactly.
You know, my granddaddy would go, him and the brother worked that land, but they wasn't doing nothing but just planting enough food to survive, raising enough animals to survive. They had to get extra. They went out and worked on other people's farms. And the way they paid them was criminal.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't think that I have witnessed my ancestors work for $3 a day, all day long. All day long.
Yep.
That made these farmers rich, and their children trying to keep it like that. And they see it slipping away from them because I was looking at the draft, the basketball draft, man.
Oh.
This boy is 7'3".
Yes.
What kind of giant little kid is that? Listen, whip the stick, change basketball.
Yeah. Yes.
Whip the stick. They said, man, the man did 100 points in one game. They looked around them and said, we got to get some big boys. They had to get us at that point. But I looked at that Denver team, them Nuggets.
Yes.
Woo! I love sports. You know, I love sports. I looked at all these young kids being drafted. They instant millionaires.
Yes.
I'm looking at football, instant millionaires, and looking at music industry,
yes,
millionaires. They don't like that.
No.
That's the biggest threat to them. So they got to do something to throw you off. They cause us to be separated. The church got to get back into teaching the Word of God, not just reading it, teaching it.
Teaching it, living it.
Living it. See, David wasn't, he didn't have no intention to go kill Goliath. He was just going there to take his brother some stuff.
That's it.
Yeah. You know, he was just doing his what his daddy told him to do. He get there, he look at all the army shaking. Here's some big killer.
Yes.
But David's faith. So wait a minute. You telling them I'll fight him because everybody else didn't want to fight him. And they done tried to put some armor on David, make him and then they at the same time they you ain't ready for this, huh? But they didn't know what David knew.
Right.
See, they didn't know what David knew. They didn't know what David came there for. See, David didn't even know what he came there for. But when he said the battle is not mine, we got to understand how God worked this stuff, man.
Yes.
David, somebody sent me a picture with David with Goliath's head in his hand, saying we can do all things. All things. We got to get back to that, and now because this evil that we see taking place in our country is not right.
Yes,
it's not right.
And the challenge is we see this, but it is so easy for us to buy into what we see as being the way to do things. And knowing, deep down within, we know that's not the way you treat your fellow humans. That is not the way but because it is the example that we see from a majority, we will buy into that because we want those comforts that majority has.
Now, I'm going to say this here. I don't believe, it might just be my naivety. I just don't believe that there is many crazy white folks as Trump them.
Oh.
No. I think the media has blown it up. They made this a big old huge following that they scared of his base. Man, it ain't that many crazy white folks in this country. What it is people that's trying to go on being Americans and not getting caught up in that stuff that got to get caught up in it. See, that's the problem. We cannot see evil and don't say nothing.
Exactly.
We talk about the Good Samaritan. We need to these preachers need to teach the word, not just read the Bible. You got people that think all Sunday school is to read the Bible.
Yeah.
You got to get people to understand the relationship of God's word to our behavior now.
Yes.
Today, every day.
Yes.
We don't get that out of some of our churches because they just go and they throwing in there, they passing the plate, get the money. Preacher riding good and people doing bad.
Yeah.
we got, and so that's why the church has not the influence that it used to have, because we are not teaching the word. We're not preaching the word. We just reading the Bible, preaching the Bible. A lot of people can't understand that history is being repeated. Solomon told it like this: there's nothing new under the sun. We need to understand, if you don't learn from your past, you're bound to repeat it.
Yes. And unfortunately, that's what we are seeing today.
We're seeing it today. And it's hurtful, Tony.
It's hurting us. And we're choosing, we see it, but we're choosing not to recognize it as for what it really is.
Now, just take this in for example. Last week I talked about the plight of veterans and when they really went into it. if you look at this, Biden them say that the official count now is 17 a day, right? Only line, stack them up in front of you. 17 bodies a day.
Yeah.
That's 17 families.
Yes.
Committing suicide. You got any given day over 250,000 homeless veterans. That's over 250,000 families.
Yes.
We got to put this stuff in context and understand what we're looking at and act on it. We don't have to have that. We got more empty buildings in this city right now than we got homeless people. Yeah. So why are we letting the government let our people sleep? We this is veterans talk, y'all. Yeah. This is just I don't want nobody to think we mad up in here. We mad. We glad today.
Yeah.
We're excited today.
We're excited today. But we won't stray away from our really true mission.
Yes.
You know, we will not stray away. We're going to continue to say these things until you know, we're not going to give up.
We're not going to give up. Change going to come.
That's one of the things. Yes. Oh, this memorial. Oh, that's just wonderful. A lot of flowers and you know all the.
But they got to see where we're coming from.
Yes.
Because it's about thinking the idea that a 12-year-old can get shot down on MLK.
Yes. Or somebody can go in a schoolhouse. You know, I can remember growing up, there was never a locked door on the school. The school sit in the middle of the community, and we came from all directions.
All directions.
And so you walked in any door, it was wide open.
Wide open.
And that was the
only thing you had to worry about, you don't misbehave when you walk through the door.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you had a counselor watching you.
Somebody standing there. There was always a teacher there or somewhere in that hall watching you.
Watching you.
Came in. Yes.
Watching you. I remember I was a school scout. I mean, you know, little patrol.
Yeah.
You know, and my mom would say, you better respect folks. You respect folks. See, we get people in authority. We getting people in authority. You look at these young men that was on the police force that killed his brother.
Yeah.
All of them are black. They look like him.
Yes.
They got the authority wrong. They're misusing their authority. You know, this is a moral issue, Tony.
Yes.
This is a spiritual issue. This is that spiritual warfare that we keep reading about in the Bible.
Yes. Yeah.
And we ain't pushing the people to it. We got to push the people back to this.
Yeah.
Because they need to understand. Raise your children in the way of the word. Raise them in the way of the word. That's what we did. That's what happened to us, Tony. I was raised, I tell this story all the time, man. I had to go to church in Mount Moriah every Sunday, whether I wanted to or not. Yeah. I know when I woke up on Sunday morning, sometime when my mama didn't go with her, I'd go in the front and go right out the back, go right around there to AU field. I know I wouldn't get a whipping because my sister, I was going to miss message. I try to get back there enough so I could tell my mama stuff. I always got it messed up because I got a sister. Well, all my sisters. I got a sister so smart, man. She could tell my mama. She a preacher now too. She could tell my mama exactly. So my mama listened to her first, and then she called me. she know that because this boy here is subject to go out the back door. He need to stay in the church. He need to stay in the word. He need to know what it is that I'm trying to teach him.
Yeah.
You know. And that made community, Tony.
Oh yes.
That's what made community. Because I wanted, when I left, if I was doing something I knew I wouldn't do, I'm looking around and just make sure ain't nobody see me that know me.
Knowing you were wrong, you know, you were completely aware that you were not following the order.
Children know, man. We know. That's why you got to have these parents that keep us straight.
Yep.
And the children need it more now today than they needed and we needed it because they got all these gadgets.
Oh yes.
Distractions. You know, and that empower them, and they smart. They smarter than the parents. So that empower them to make them think they're an authority over the parent.
Yep.
You know, and we got too many of our young black men dropping out of school because schools are not allowed to teach the children anymore. They're looking for test results. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not teaching the children how to love to learn. I had Mr. Robertson, industrial art teacher. The man taught me how to make furniture, so I'm making furniture.
We had trade school.
We had trade school.
Right.
I'm making furniture, selling to people in my family. Because my grandma would sell anything I had. She thought she'd make everybody buy something out of them. And I was making the picnic tables.
Yeah.
You know, because we had families and, you know, we get together. So everybody in my family had to buy a picnic table with the benches. You know, we need to get back to some of these basics. Mm-hmm. And the sons of Atlanta who died in war is our call to unity. It's a call. They're coming for us. Mm-hmm. They're teaching us. They taught us with their short lives how to get along. Mm-hmm. How to look past somebody's differences and understand that we're all in it together.
Yep.
We're all God's children. I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you came from. I don't care how you speak. We're all God's children. We're all human beings. We all need to be treated with the same kind of respect and opportunities to God's will. Yeah. See, we didn't forget that God made the water. We didn't forget, man, that God owned all of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we've lost direction.
We've lost direction.
We've lost direction.
Well, that's the manipulation of the few. Mm-hmm. They got the resources.
Yes.
I mean, now just think about this. Everybody know that water is heavier than lead as you go deep, but you got some people that just made a sub, and you just made a sub. Mm-hmm. Go down to the bottom of the thing, and took their children there. Yeah. This is Veterans Talk. We're trying to close it out, man. Close it out. I done been all over everywhere.
Well, yeah, we have. But it's all been a good thing. We've talked about all the things that we needed to talk about, but we want to celebrate the fact that the Vietnam War Memorial is going to happen in Piedmont Park. We appreciate your service. We appreciate your effort, and stay with us so that you'll be a part of this memorial when it happens in Piedmont Park. Until next week.
Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. We're on YouTube too.
Yeah.
See you.
Pinky ring, we're about to be deep.